So as you're following along with me with your materials, we're going to skip through the forward and some of the acknowledgments. You can go read it. Some of it's a little bit, hokey anyway, but we're going to skip straight to who is the short-term pro. The answer is me. Short-term pro is a moniker that was bestowed on me by my fellow real estate professionals in my local community. This name is a testament to my expertise into quickly turning short-term rentals into profitable ventures. Additionally, it's the name of my social media platform and network of experts and influencers who partner with me on all of my properties and projects. For me, it represents my status as a seasoned professional in the short-term rental industry and the respect I have earned from my peers. So today, if you jump to the page Proven Success on Airbnb, these stats were as of 2021. We actually put this book out in 2023 without the coaching content. So today we're actually adding the coaching content. So some of that may have changed. We may or may not update that for you. We actually have the new stats and data. But today I want to tell you that I've been a Airbnb Superhost 10 times over. You always hear Grant Cardone talk about 10X, Proven Success on Airbnb. When this book was written in 2023, we took stats from 2021. We figured out some things when we started really deep diving on those stats. We found that my being a Superhost at that time, 5 times over, was very impressive. But I started looking at it, and there are over 5.6 million global listings on Airbnb at 7% who make Superhost. Think about that for just a second. 7%. I was able to achieve this not once, but twice, and on and on and on. Who knows how many times I quit keeping up. It's not that I'm patting myself on the back, maybe it's a little humble brag, but I really understand this concept, the rule of 5. What is the criteria? You have to have completed 10 trips or completed 3 reservations that total at least 100 nights. You have to maintain a 90% response rate or higher. You have to maintain a 1% cancellation rate. So that's 1 cancellation for every 100 reservations. That's very hard to do. You have to maintain a 4.8 overall rating. You know what? At the time this book was written and when we found these stats, 5.2 million people missed the mark. You're still not sold? Here's some math. The average co-host gets an annual revenue of $19,936 with a 26% occupancy rate. Pretty low numbers, pretty low occupancy rate. But if you become a Superhost and you actually build your credibility, build the trust, build your brand, you're more likely to make $30,457 and boost your occupancy rate to 47%. And over time, this will grow. Some markets are a little different. This equates to about a $10,500 or 21% increase in total bookings. That's super important when you're trying to make money. 1.27 million co-hosts could not get 10 reservations. Something's wrong there. 216,000 co-hosts failed to achieve a 4.8 star rating or higher. 667,000 co-hosts didn't respond to 90% of questions in 24 hours. That's uncalled for. 45,000 co-hosts canceled because of double bookings. You got to get your systems, got to get your processes. Let's be honest for a second. When it comes to managing an Airbnb property, it's important to be honest and realistic. It's unlikely that you'll receive a perfect 5-star review every time, but this shouldn't discourage you from striving for success as a host. I'm an experienced Airbnb host who wants to share my personal insights and expert advice based on my experiences and research. I want to encourage you as a reader to critically evaluate the information presented and use it as a starting point for your own research and decision making. I want to remind you that it's important for you to aim for perfection, but settle for excellence. It's impossible to get a 5-star review every single time. By following the tips and strategies presented in this workbook, you'll learn how to achieve this. Some of my tips may seem simple, but they're often overlooked by hosts and property managers. So be sure to take notes as you go through the workbook, step by step. Additionally, I encourage you to read and reflect both on positive, negative experiences that guests have been staying at your property. This will help you understand and improve the guest experience. So remember, as we go through this workbook, you're able to pause this video, take some notes, think about the properties that you own or the properties that you manage, or maybe the properties that you're looking to buy. Take time, sit down, think about the good properties and the negative properties, and think about what you can do to help people improve on those, help improve your bookings, help improve your listings. We're going to start with the Q&A now. What is your worst experience? Have you ever had a bad enough experience at a property that you felt compelled to leave a negative review? If so, I want you to briefly describe that experience so you can understand a little bit more about why this happens. Your best experience. Have you ever had a good enough experience at a property that you decided to leave a positive review? If so, sit down and think about that for just a minute and briefly describe why that was a good experience for you and why you felt the need to leave a positive review. And remember, if you couldn't think of anything, just go back and write down a story that you've heard, or for instance, that happened to a friend or a family member. But as you work through this workbook, I want you to remember both of those experiments. Think about it, because if you've traveled, you know, you've been there, you've had a bad experience, I'm sure, and you've had awesome experiences. And what compelled you to make those phone calls? What compelled you to reach out to the host? What compelled you to leave a positive or a negative review? It's super, super important to remember that right now. As you work through this workbook, keep these experiences in mind. Additionally, it's important to set clear goals for your property or properties. Whether your goal is to make money, gain fame, achieve financial freedom, it's important to be honest with yourself. I want you to sit down right now and clearly define some of your goals and your expectations for your properties. As you go through the rule of 5, remember to be honest with yourself. If your goal is to make a lot of money, achieve fame, fortune, hey, that's fine. Just be honest. But in the midst of all this, the person that pays our bills is the person that's the end user, the guest. So you've got to also think about the guest experience. Think about your positives, think about your negatives, think about when you've traveled, when you've made that call, when you've made that text, when you've been really, really happy or you've been really, really upset about a travel experience. Understanding both the positive and negative experiences will help you set these clear goals for the expectations that you want to have for your property, but not only for your property, but for your end user, the guest. The guest is the person who pays all of our bills. And if you want to make $1 million, if you want to make $10 million, if you want to be a real estate mogul, it all begins and ends with the guest experience. Remember that as you make your goals.